All right, good morning, party people. Here we are. It's Thursday, June 16th, 2022. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go back to yesterday and just quickly show you what happened here. I did not trade just because it was so slow and choppy. However, there were some pretty awesome little reactions off our level. So I just want to quickly show you that. And then we'll look at what happened the rest of the day and then get into this morning. So, um, let's go ahead and get up close to the open here. So all morning we essentially came right into our minor eye level at 81. I think the farthest reach was about 1.75 points above it. But you can see here just before the open, could not break through, came up, tested it to the tick, came down, held our major eye level 37.70 half, came back up, could not get through, came down, held the 200 almost to the tick, came back to 81, couldn't break through, came back to the 200, came back up, failed just in front of 81, came right back to 70 half, came back to 81, pulled back, held the FMA, came right into 81 again, pull back, and then we got the breakout to a new high of the morning. And when that happened, it pulled back, held the fast moving average, and then went ahead and started ripping higher. Now, we didn't really get very far, and I think I told everybody in the room here if you wanted to, once we broke out, the idea was for some type of push higher, but then look what happened. Came right up and could not. This line I put on here this morning, so this wasn't on the chart yesterday. But we came up, couldn't get through this area around 97, and then what do you know? We came back down, got below the 200, got below the FMA, and then it was a seller's market here, coming down into VWAP and then breaking through it, and it was really just kind of a sideways choppy day. And another reason when we came into the open here, I wasn't really calling anything. It just did not seem like the kind of market I wanted to play around in. And you can see here, let's zoom out and take a look at kind of the whole morning. So here was that block between the major and the minor eye level where it chopped around, came up, came down, and then you can see all sideways. And then we had the Fed announcement at 11, and that's where you see this spike up to break through the high of the morning there just by a few points and then fell back down. So pretty violent reaction there when that Fed announcement was made, and then from there more sideways chop. So there was really the market didn't really do anything yesterday. Um, and let's see, let's zoom back out. Came down, we did come down to lower lows eventually, despite the kind of fake out, and then got another fake out to the upside, came right into 88.22 here, 38.22, couldn't get through it, and then got up above it. And if you zoom in, you can see all the micro movements here on the 512 right into 38.22, was trying to break through, got through it, and then held right on top of it to come, and then there was no strength to continue going. They came back down and then held the back end and then came back down again. So no real appreciable stuff going on. We did break out to the upside, right? Continued to try to peak up, and then here we are coming into the Globex session. So tried to get through 22, pulled back, and held VWAP. That's another beautiful little setup there. Came up to tried to break through 822, pulled back, held it, and then started coming back down. We actually held 37.81 for a bounce, but then it didn't go anywhere, and then it came down and held the VWAP. Just absolutely beautiful stuff. And that was probably also just about 50 to 38% retracement of that leg. Oh, look at that. It was the 50. 50% of this leg right here, just magic. And then we got the attempt to break out, held up above 22 here, and then failed. And then here we are in the overnight session coming into this morning, and the market has once again failed back down to the bottom of the range. It's just not going anywhere right now, and it's trending lower as we expected. Another interesting thing to note in the Globex session is there was an attempt to pop through 22 again, came back, and then basically held it almost to the tick for the failure back lower. So just awesome stuff with these levels. Despite it being so choppy and so sideways, it just seems like this stuff works over and over again. So here we find ourselves coming into the open. It's again in the Globex attempting to break out and then failing once again back down to new lows. So in the overnight session here, we're now visiting new levels that we haven't traded at since, and let me actually get the date. We haven't traded down here since just about March of, is that 2021 or 2020? Yeah, March of 2021, right? So more than a year ago, we haven't been down here. And as we come down, we're still holding below the VWAP and we're still down below our holy orange power level. So things aren't looking too great here. Obviously, the Fed announcement was not good, talking about continuing to raise these interest rates. So it's just crazy. So let's go ahead and jump up. We'll look at our daily chart and then get down to the daily level. So we still have that preponderance of potential bullish signals from these lows, but we continue to push to lower lows and it continues to build. So the higher time frames right now don't think are going to help us out too much. But when we get down to the daily, you can see once again, we also have that agreement for the potential bullish case. And yesterday we did get a breakout to the upside, but then it failed, like I said here, in the overnight session, right? So once again, off the current low of the current candle, if it was to close the way it looks right now, maybe we would also have another bullish divergence. What does that mean? Again, yesterday we said there was a potential bullish divergence from the day before, and then the market just kind of tried to break out and it failed. And I told you that this is what we're going to see happen over and over again. We're going to have these little rallies for a day or maybe two, and then swat it back down for the bearish case. So the daily's not looking too strong right now. Essentially, the current bar looks like a bearish engulfing bar, although to be pedantic, we need to come up and actually break through the high of yesterday, and so we actually truly have that engulfing, but looks like a pretty heavy bar. All right, so down to our 4 hour. Yesterday we got a nice bearish signal off of the high of the day, and now that we come down in the overnight session, again, just like yesterday, off of the overnight lows, we do see another potential bullish signal. Now, do we want to hang our hats on that for a major breakout? No, but that's always a possibility here, especially with the signals being there. If there were no signals, then any type of breakout I'd be a lot more skeptical of, but because we have a preponderance of signals down off the lows, if it happens, it won't be a surprising thing based off of what we're seeing. All right, so let's get down to the 60-minute. We'll look at some of these levels, and then we're going to jump down to the 10-minute so we can actually look. And let me see if I could zoom in a little better here. Look inside of what's been happening for the last 3 days in this area. It's a mess. There's just so much crap in here, so we're going to have to go down to the 10-minute to see all of it clearly. But from a 60-minute perspective, if you just zoom out a little bit, we're holding below our minor eye level at 37.35 here. Market came up, tried to break through in the overnight session about, 20 minutes ago, and then failed. So still holding below that minor eye level. And then a little bit further up, we have 37.70. And actually, all the stuff within here we're going to talk about on the 10-minute. So let's look at what's above and what's below. So up above us, if the market somehow follows through with all those bullish signals and breaks through the high of yesterday, we've still got 38.53 up here. We still have 38.75, and then we still have that 3900 ledge of this little structure zone right here up above there. So 3900, and then it's just one by one, almost all the same levels we've been talking about for a while now. And those fib legs that I talked about yesterday, having the 38 line up right there around 3900, and then having our 50 and our 61 up in this area, it shifted now that we have a new low, right? So as we push to new lows, we have to continue to draw the major fib from the high up here at 4204.75 all the way down to the whatever low we make. And so as we do that, the 38.50 and 61 are going to change. So this morning, the 38, rather than being right around 3,900, happens to be down here around 38.89. Likewise, the 61.8 being somewhere around 39.56 yesterday is now down closer to around 39.50 here. And then that 61.8 all the way up here at 40.15 is actually a little bit closer to 4,009, 4,010 there. Again, do I expect us to make it that far up? No, but anything's possible, right? So be aware of those levels. And then on the flip side, if we just continue to sell off and we break through the low of the overnight session here, we've got all these levels that we've been talking about again for quite a while down below. So be aware of these guys down here. And now what I want to do is go to the 10-minute and talk about all the garbage up above us here in this little local range. So let me bring on my 10-minute chart. And you can see there are two levels that I added here. You can see these purple dotted lines. I was looking at all this garbage up here in this sideways chop, and those were the two levels that stuck out. We've got 37.63 here. That looks like a very important level amongst all this stuff here. And then we've got 37.97.75 right here. Those two levels, when you just zoom out and look at what price has done, look very important to me. So be aware of those two levels. And then we have obviously our major and minor I levels interspersed. We have the close of yesterday right around 37.93. We have our daily power levels and a couple other things all lined up here. So holy orange power level 37.40 quarter. We've got that 37.63 level that looks very important to me. Again, our major level, our minor level, and our power level, and then this little swing here at 86 also. So basically 37.81 to 37.86. Looks like potential for there to be some type of reaction there. And then a little bit further through the close of yesterday brings us to that 37.97 and 3/4. And then it's up to 38.12, 38.22, and the high of yesterday. So that's what we're dealing with. Again, it's just look at what we're dealing with over here. There's a whole bunch of shit. So that's why there's so much stuff sitting here. And that's really it. Do we have a strong bias this morning? We do have a preponderance of bullish signals from the overnight low, but the question is going to be, did the bulls have the strength to actually push it? And even if they do, how far are they really going to get before the bears regain power and continue to chug lower? That's the question here. Our expectation really is for the market to continue to sell off, but I do believe at some point we're going to see some type of bullish rally that's going to fake all these bulls out and get everyone long thinking that we're in some type of recovery for another swat back to even lower lows. So have a great morning to all those watching out on YouTube. Hopefully this helps you orient yourself coming into the open. And we're going to get started here in just a few minutes.